When I was thinking about doing this book collection, I was in northern Sweden, in the middle of winter. I was sitting in my flat, staring out of the window at a howling Arctic blizzard. Two things struck me. The first was the inexorable passage of the elements, the grey rains of the autumn having given way to the wild flurries of ice crystals, the dark snow now blanketing the ground that would give rise in the spring to tiny grass shoots. I had an epiphanic moment that everything was not only interconnected, but that existence itself, the very thingness of us all, is not discrete, but the ebb and flow of those connections. The second thing that struck me was that I was looking at an aesthetic out of my window, which could very well have come from an alternative reality. So warm and dry was I in my room while the storm raged outside. Louis MacNeice wrote a poem called Snow, where, looking at roses against the snow outside his window, he was inspired by the diversity of the world, the drunkenness of things being various. I would like to think I had a similar insight. Reality being so unreal and virtual reality being so real. And as we negotiate between the two, everything changes. What is real or unreal in machinima? And why is that so fascinating? In this film by the Lumiere brothers, workers leaving the Lumiere factory, people walking out of the factory became an engrossing movie to watch because it reproduced reality in our world. In The Sprinkler Sprinkled, the story goes that its viewers were delighted more by the leaves fluttering in the background than by the amusing scene where a gardener sprinkling his lawn gets sprinkled by a boy playing a prank on him. Because something as simple as leaves moving in the wind is what we know as our reality, our world. Machinima is a different creature, a media born not from the physical world around us, but from game worlds, from virtual worlds. It is the reproduction and manipulation of another reality, a reality that is imagined and then created, real yet almost infinitely plastic, full of meaning and symbolism, yet not physical. Machinima carries the stories, the dreams, and the emotions of these alternate realities from these different worlds. I wanted to hear them all. The collection contains 12 chapters, each dealing with machinima as a practice, particularly in applications beyond gaming and video games. There are chapters on machinima works, such as The French Democracy by Alex Chan. There is a chapter on the Danish hybrid animated film, My Avatar and Me.
This is a world full of real people,
which discusses how live action mixes with machinima to create meaning or evolution of new forms of text.
People are the most dangerous things on earth.
And of course, a chapter on Second Life Machinima, how can we forget that? By Sarah Higley or Hypatia Pickens in Second Life, covering in one gulp Lainey Room's Push, Pierre Claus' Surreal, Bruno's Rusted Gears, Saskia Bodeka's Why Is There Something, and the Second Life builds for the 2010 World Expo in Shanghai. We also have artists and machinima makers contributing to the book. Chris Burke, of Spartan Life fame, writes about the knowability of space in the game world as compared to the unknowability of cinematic space and time. Sandra Danilovich introduces her own machinima and live-action documentary, Second Bodies, which won the Best Documentary at the New Media Film Festival in San Francisco 2001, and the Gordon F. Keeble Award in Ryerson University in 2009. Joseph Delap, who performed Dead in Iraq, writes about several of his online and mixed reality works of interventionist performance in games and virtual communities. And finally, Sheldon Brown writes about living in machinima, creating his artwork as a dialogue between cinema, games, and media environments. There are chapters which think about machinima in relation to art games, to digital puppetry, to advergaming, and to a depiction of First Nations people. And then there are chapters which think about using machinima as a way to teach. From classrooms in Australia and in Sweden, students make machinima instead of writing essays, learning different sets of skills and literacies. So this, for example, is Chaucer's The Pardoner's Tale, made by undergraduate students at the University of Wollongong.
Hey man, I gotta avoid that corner. I owe that old guy about 100,000 florins, and I'll never hear the end of it.
You kidding? You should be more worried about what he'll say when he finds out about you and his wife.
One of the charms of machinima for me is the perfection of its digital ecology between video games, virtual worlds, digital cinema, and the World Wide Web, and the fluidity of how it transposes from one media form to another. I didn't just want the book to be a static print text. I wanted something to reflect that fluidity. So I created a QR code for every chapter, which would link to a unique mobile web page. And this web page would feature all the digital content associated in the relevant chapter, such as machinima videos, hyperlinks, online PDFs, Flickr images, etc. Understanding machinima thus becomes a dialogue between the print text and its online digital content, just as machinima itself is a fluent exchange between media forms and formats. Reading the text also changes, no longer confined to just a bound book, but instead transfers from the page to the screen, from the hand to the eye, where each can integrate with, enhance, and complement the other. So that's the Understanding Machinima book collection, and yes, it kept me very busy through the Arctic winter. But soon it was spring, and the snow melted, and I'm now heading for the beach. But I'm inordinately proud of this collection, and I hope you will like it as much as I have enjoyed working on this.